Okay, so we're going to answer this tubes of paint question. Let's suppose our surface area ended up being 792. I don't know, just making this up. Okay, so how much tubes of paint are we going to need? Well, there's two ways to look at this. A tube of paint, here's a little tube. It holds 200 centimeters squared. That's how much it can paint. So every time I use a tube, subtract 200. So I'm going to be left with 592. That's one tube. Okay, I'm going to minus another tube. I'm going to be left with 392. Minus another tube. I'm going to be left with 192. And one more tube. And I'm going to be left with some extra, right? Or no, I'm going to be in the hole. So I've covered everything. This is going to be -8. So I had perfect amount. 1, 2, 3, 4. I used 4 tubes. Okay. Now, what if the answer is less than that? So let's say the answer is 623. Okay. How many tubes am I going to need? Minus 200, 423, minus 200. So that's one tube. That's second tube. It's going to be 223 left. Do another tube. That's going to be 23 left. So what about this last 23? Does that need an additional tube? Yeah, it does. You can't just leave some of the house unpainted. So you're going to need to use another tube there. So even though it's 623, you're still going to need 4 tubes. Okay, another way to look at this is if you have 623, you can divide it by 200. Oops, that's not the way you divide. Divide by 200. Okay, you're going to have 4 with a remainder of some, wait a second. No, not 4. 3 with some remaining. Okay, so you're going to use 3 tubes with some remaining. But with that remainder, you need an extra tube. So yeah, you'll have some paint left over, but you need that extra tube. So you have to use that in your calculations. So how many tubes not exactly. Don't put a decimal. You don't go to the store and you don't buy 3.33 repeated tubes of paint. No, you don't. You'd never buy, hey sir, could I buy 3.3 tubes of paint? No, you wouldn't. You would buy 4 tubes of paint, right? If that was the case. All right, I'm belaboring the point, but hopefully you got it.